Your Olympic hero has arrived. It's true, it's true.
You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another episode of Random Thoughts. In today's episode, I thought I'd talk a little bit about some modern shows and movies that I don't hate. And these will range from good to bearable. There's a few things that I've liked, and again, the term modern I'm using a little bit subjectively, but basically, anything within the last, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 5 years, like, you know, around the time things started to just kind of feel like shit, and I started to be, like, very cynical. We're going to be looking at stuff like that. I think the oldest thing I'm going to be talking about here is 8 years, so there you go. But as you guys know, I often say that, you know, movies and shows are shit now, but there are a few that I like. So first off, let's talk about Terrifier. I've talked about it multiple times. This is the one that's 8 years old. It's crazy to think 2016 was 8 years ago. That's nuts. I've already talked about Terrifier at length in other videos. I did a review of Terrifier 1 and 2. I like both of these movies quite a bit. Terrifier 2 came out in 2022. And they're working on Terrifier 3, which should come out this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully they don't fuck it up. I really like these movies. They're really over-the-top violent and sadistic, which is fucking great. You wouldn't expect it with a slasher movie coming out these days, but it's fucking great. I actually put the first two, at least, because again, 3 isn't out yet, but I put the Terrifier movies on a pedestal alongside the classic slasher movies. And again, it's a nice hybrid of slasher and splatter, because it's really fucking violent. Another thing that I obviously loved was the movie Joker. I did a whole review on that as well. Joker's great. It came out back in 2019. It's a fucking fantastic movie. I did a whole review on it. I just thought it was worth mentioning, obviously, because Joker is really good. You know, it's kind of a dark drama with a character who's, you know, mentally unstable and eventually fucking snaps. And it's definitely one of the most interesting versions of the Joker himself as well. Another movie that I really liked that I've seen recently is The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is really good. It's an interesting horror movie with a unique premise where it's honestly hard to tell what's actually going on. Because in the movie, we can't tell which character is crazy and which one isn't. I think both characters are probably crazy, but there's also a bunch of crazy shit just happening. It's very interesting. It's Lovecraftian, too, so that's pretty cool. Like, there's definitely Lovecraftian elements in the way that it's written, and there's some cosmic horror going on in there. Alright, then there's obviously Logan. Logan's really good. You know, that's one of my favorite movies. I've talked about it plenty of times before. Logan's great. I didn't realize how many things there were that I actually liked. I actually planned for this to mainly focus on the shows, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, there's actually quite a few movies I need to put on here, so that's why I keep going back to this, because Logan was great. There's a lot of things that I apparently liked. But then we get to really more modern, even more so. But then again, like I said, a lot of these things are more modern than I thought about. But anyway, and speaking of, you know, like Lovecraftian, there was also that Color Out of Space movie with Nicolas Cage that was really good. I like that one a lot, too. It does a really good job capturing the spirit of the Color Out of Space. There was also Spider-Man No Way Home, which was pretty good, too. I definitely think that it is a little bit overrated, to say the least. But it is actually genuinely good. It's not like a masterpiece or anything, but Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin carries it. You know, oh, speaking of Willem Dafoe, there was that movie Antichrist that I actually think was... No, that was 2009, wasn't it? So never mind. Yeah, never mind. But the Lighthouse had Willem Dafoe in it, too. Willem Dafoe's good. There was also that movie The Boy and the Heron, which was the new Ghibli film. That was good. I'm sure if we just focus on the movies, we'll be here forever. So let's move on to the shows. There's actually, like, you know, typically with TV, I feel like a lot of modern shows are just kind of mindless drivel. But there are occasionally shows that I either really like or that I tolerate. So let's start out with one that's kind of more of the latter, right? Like a show that isn't necessarily good, but I like aspects of it enough to watch it. And that's The Boys. The Boys is like, you know... It's like Corbin said, it's like we have Watchmen at home. That's basically what it is, right? Like, it's a superhero, fucked up, comedy, drama, satire, social commentary thing that has a lot of retarded woke politics in it, but every once in a while it'll have, like, a base take, but it's rare. I'm only 5 episodes in, and I don't hate it. Like, there's already, like... You know, there's been some dumb shit, but I haven't gotten to Season 2 yet, which I hear is where it gets really bad. But I like Homelander, and so far I like Billy Butcher. Corbin told me Billy Butcher gets kind of fucking lame later on, but I like him so far. But The Boys has its moments. It's got some stuff that I like. It's kind of fun sometimes. It's pretty violent, which can be entertaining. But again, it definitely has some retarded social commentary mixed in there. It's got some really stupid writing that doesn't make any sense and doesn't add up a lot of the time. Like, they clearly just do stuff for show without actually thinking about the substance of how it would work. For instance, translucent skin can't be broken, right? By any means. But when they blow him up from inside, that somehow breaks his skin, just because it's from the inside. Spencer pointed this out when we were watching it, which I didn't even think of at first, but he's right. So they'll have that error, right? Like just have him die, sure, but like his skin is impenetrable, right? So that logically would be impenetrable from the inside as well. But another thing, but like they'll have that issue. But then they'll have Homelander meticulously think through about the logistics of trying to catch a falling plane and why it wouldn't work, which was actually pretty smart. So it's weird how they'll have shit that, like, that obviously doesn't make sense, and then they'll actually have something logical like that. It's weird. But, you know, The Boys isn't the only modern superhero show. There's also Invincible, which I actually really like. Season 1... had a great ending. Season 1's ending is fucking fantastic. And Season 1 overall is good. So far they have a season and a half of Invincible out so far. And I've currently watched every episode of Invincible that there is. Now, there is still a little sprinkle of some dumb social commentary in there, but it's nowhere near to the degree that it is in The Boys. It's interesting, because in Season 1 of Invincible, I fucking hate Amber. Like, she's such an awful character in Season 1. But in Season 2, she's like the complete opposite. Because, like, in Season 1, she's an unsupportive bitch the entire time. But in Season 2, like, she's just always, like, supportive and, like, nice and caring. And it's like, who is this character and why wasn't she in Season 1? You know what I mean? Like, this Amber, like, she still has annoying aspects of her character. Like, she's still a little bit obnoxious with her, like, oh, I feed the homeless and blah, blah, blah. But, like... at least she's a supportive girlfriend now. Like, before, she was fucking awful. Now, I don't know if they listen to criticism, because, like, apparently Amber's a completely different character in the comics than she is in the show. But the Season 2 version of the character is actually, you know, decent. Like, she's not, like, an amazing character or anything, but she's fucking supportive. I actually don't mind her in Season 2. It's crazy. Omni-Man is obviously the best character. J.K. Simmons is fucking great. He carries it a lot. They do some really interesting and weird, unexpected stuff with him in Season 2 that I'm curious to see where it goes, because obviously I've never read the comics. I also really like the Mauler twins. I think those characters are pretty cool. I enjoy them quite a bit. I love also just how fucking cartoonish and stupid the fucking villains are in that show. It's really funny. Like, it has, like, this sort of, like, 90s Saturday morning cartoon vibe to it, but it's also really fucking violent. Another thing I wanted to bring up... with The Boys, so backtracking a little bit, the main character is, like, the worst part of that show. Like, Huey sucks. Fuck him. He's just a simp for Starlight, and it's fucking gay. Like, first episode, he's kind of cool, because he's like, I'm gonna get revenge. But now he's just like, oh, Starlight, my queen. And again, I'm only 5 episodes in, and Corbin's told me he gets even worse, so, oh joy. Another movie, going back to movies briefly, because I really do want to mention this one. There's a movie called The Banshees of Inisherin that's really good. It's a drama that takes place on this Irish island, and it's fucking dark, too. Like, it gets really dark at times. And it's interesting, because it's just about, like, a failed friendship, right? Like, friends that have grown apart. Really good movie, The Banshees of Inisherin. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before. It was probably on, like, a monthly movie recap, which I know I need to do another one of those. Don't worry, I will. I actually was going to do one a month after the previous one, but then just never got around to it. So don't worry, I will do one. I actually also have Takeshi Tuesdays planned, but anyway, I digress. The Banshees of Inisherin is really good, so I thought it was worth mentioning because it's a fucking great movie. Like, again, it's about 2 old lifetime friends that one of them just decides he doesn't want to be friends anymore because he finds the other one dull and feels like he's holding him back, and then it becomes like this whole big thing where the 2 are fighting over it. And then one is like, hey, if you keep talking to me, I'm gonna cut off my fingers and throw them at your door, and then he does, and it's fucking nuts. And to end off with, we'll talk about Succession. Now, I have seen the first 3 seasons of Succession. I'm going to be starting Season 4 tomorrow. I've been watching it with a friend of mine, and it's been really good so far. Succession has an obvious leftist bias with the way that it's written. But it's actually fairly even-handed in that everybody in the show is a piece of shit. It's also got a very unique setting, because it's a rich family, right? And basically every single character in Succession is a rich, self-centered asshole who's completely unhinged in their own ways. Like, each character is unhinged in their own unique way. But it's a story about a family fighting over control of their dad's company as he's got, like, dementia and is getting older, and, like, they're trying to see who will be, like, the next CEO. And in the first couple episodes, I thought that Logan, the dad, was gonna die within the first couple episodes. No, he sticks around. He fucking... Because, like, they make his dementia really, really bad early on, and then he's just, like, fine for a lot of the series with occasional outbursts. Again, I haven't seen Season 4 yet, so I'm sure they're gonna bring it full circle, and, I'm sure his health is gonna deteriorate. He's probably gonna die. Like, I haven't seen Season 4 yet, but, like, it's pretty obvious to me that that's gonna happen. Considering they built up his dementia and stuff so much early on, and, they've made him, like... They've sort of made him the antagonist, the villain. Like, I guess he is the antagonist. Because, he's definitely, like, the most, like, overtly, like, Machiavellian in a lot of ways. He's constantly, like, manipulative. By the way, Logan's my favorite character. I fucking love him. And even though, like, the show clearly intends for you to hate him, he's clearly, like, the most based character. But the show's a nice, like, dramedy with a lot of good family drama and a lot of good humor. It's fucking great. I honestly was surprised with how good it was. And even though I say that it's clearly written with a leftist bias, it actually has good social commentary a lot of the time. Like, it does a pretty good job at representing certain issues with the fucking US government and corporations that are absolutely real issues. You know, cover-ups of scandals, and the way that, like, you know, for decades, the president was just kind of picked, and they kind of have that in it, too. Again, definitely it has its biases, but I'd say that it's pretty fair with making everyone a piece of shit in their own regard. And, you know, all the politicians and stuff are slimy and two-faced and, you know, going at it for their own personal gain, which, again, is actually how it is, too. Succession and Invincible were, like, the two things that made me want to talk about this, because out of the new shows I've seen, those are my two favorites. Succession, I think, is my favorite out of this list. Again, I'm really hoping the ending doesn't fuck it up, but we'll see. My friend keeps assuring me it has a good ending. I've heard other people say that the ending is a massive disappointment, so we'll see. But we will see when I get there, and I've really enjoyed watching it thus far, and it is cool to actually find new things that I like, even though I do overall think that new things are shit. And especially to find something, you know, post-2020 that's still good. Like, Succession started in 2018, but, you know, it's been going on, like, it just ended, I think, like, last year or so. Or maybe it was the year before. Either way, as far as video games, there are obviously video games that I've liked, you know, Doom Eternal, Yick. There's been plenty of new video games that I've liked, although I haven't been playing a ton lately. But, you know, there's, like I said, there's Doom Eternal, Yick, Postal 4, these are all things I've been playing. Postal 4 is kind of janky. I think the thing with Postal 4 that definitely is the worst part about it is the long-ass loading screens. Like, the bad textures and the glitches and shit is something I can handle, but the loading screens are super frustrating. Like I said, they're longer than Duke Nukem Forever's loading screens, I feel. But I think that's gonna do it for this episode of Random Thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed me giving new media a little bit of a positive look for a change. Don't expect it to be a regular occurrence, but just thought I would because, you know, I like to shit on modern media quite a bit. But this has been Fugitive Red Eye. Have a good one. Toodles!
What am I watching? I don't know, but I hate it.
Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.